Hello and welcome back. Today I'm going to use a recipe from a Waitrose recipe card. I know lots of you love the cookie dough, and who wouldn't? It's got so many recipes on it. But sometimes you've got a favourite recipe in an old cookbook or mum's or a granny's recipe, or you just pick them up as I have from these Waitrose cards or in, the monthly Good Housekeeping. What are some of the things that you should remember if you're going to do that in the Thermomix successfully? Well, there's a few tips and tricks that for cakes generally that I'm going to cover as I go through. But basically read it through and see if there's any grinding has got to take place. For example, you've got to grind the nuts, or you want to sift your flour with your other dry ingredients. Some people do that in the Thermomix. I mean, personally, I don't. Your granny probably did it through a sieve. If you want to do it all your dry ingredients in here first, then speed 4 will do all your flours and your raising agents, and in this case obviously I've got cocoa. I've added it all together to shorten the length of the video. So that's the way to do it. Obviously, if you do that first, if you whisk them by mixing on speed 4 for a few seconds, then you'll have to take that out and dirty another bowl, and then obviously you'll be doing your butter and your sugar blending. The thing that I want to do first here is this recipe uses melted chocolate, and I'm not obviously going to use a stove or anything. But my chocolate callets, my Calibo callets, are going to be melted with my butter. So that's what I'm going to do first. And then, of course, once I've got my butter and my chocolate melted and my sugar beaten in, I can then go ahead and add all the rest of the ingredients in one bowl. So I'm going to weigh in my butter, and the recipe card says 225 grams of butter. I'm not showing you the screen, it's not really necessary, because obviously I'm going to it's not a guided cooking. So 225, I'm going to go ahead. The chocolate callets are in there, and we're just going to add this amount, just chopped up a bit, pretty much a slab, isn't it? And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to melt that at, I don't know exactly how long it's going to take, so let's just put a minute in. And then I'm just going to take it to 45 degrees. Could do 50, no problem with that. If I do speed 1.5, 2, that will be absolutely fine. So here we are, and it's much quicker if you grind your chocolate first, so I forgot to say that. So if you grind your chocolate and then put it on 50 degrees with the butter, it will all be melted down much quicker, especially if you're not using callets, if you're using a broken up chocolate bar. So there we have it. And now all we're going to do is add the brown sugar. Thermomix, actually, you can make brown sugar by white sugar plus molasses. I don't know. I've actually never done it, but I know that you can. So on this one, all I'm going to do now is just give that a little bit of a mix in on speed 3. Obviously, it's going to be really easy because the butter's melted. So it's not going to be that usual cream scenario, and you can still hear a few pellets running around there because I didn't grind the chocolate. Anyway, We can do this mostly as an all-in-one cake now. If we add the eggs, I'm doing all this on speed 3. And then the flour and cocoa, a little at a time. Now, while you were away, I added I forgot to put the whisk in, and I like to whisk my cakes. So never use above speed 3 on the whisk. And what I'm adding here is a bit of flavoured Nespresso coffee. The recipe says vanilla, but I think coffee is the perfect complement to chocolate. If you've never tried a dose of coffee, a little espresso measure, tiny measure, or that essence, that espresso essence you can buy in the shops, to a chocolate cake, believe me, even if you don't like coffee cake, you are going to love this. Never overdo it on a Thermomix recipe. In other words, less is more, because it's a very powerful, even though it's on a whisk, on maximum speed 3, that's your mixture. It's all done already. Now this recipe card says this is a tray bake, and of course that's absolutely perfect for cake days and fetes and things like that. In fact, it's perfect for anything. It's also great for freezing, because bake the cake, put it into the portions, and then pop it in the freezer. I'd recommend not putting the icing on, just freezing it without the icing. But it can be done with this particular kind of icing. However, you know me, I love Bundts, and this is going to go in there, because equally with this one, I can put it into little portion sizes and freeze it that way. I think I may have chosen too big a tin here. It's a big American one, but it'll be fine. It'll be absolutely fine. Now, you're not going to watch me get every last bit out, and remember to put it on turbo to get the last bits. But that still won't be the last bits. So what you've got to do with a chocolate cake, or melted chocolate for anything else, is put 200, 300 ml of milk. That can be almond milk or anything. And I love to add, because of my, I'm not a huge milk person without it being disguised as something else. I put a measure of Nespresso into it with my 200, 300 ml of milk. And then sometimes what I do is I also put the ice cubes in. So what you've got after that is a fantastic iced drink. And then that's indeed what I'll be doing with this. So I'll show you the cake when it comes out. I'm going to just judge the cooking time, because the cooking time says probably be about 40 minutes, I would have thought, because you can see it's not going very much up the, this is probably a 5-egg Bundt tin, but there we are. I'm sure it's going to be delicious. So what I've done here is I've turboed this a few times. Obviously, it had the ice in it the first 2 times, so don't forget, when you've got it on turbo, you have to hit that home button to release the arms, and rather than spend the whole day wondering how to get the lid off. So we have this has had ice in it, as I said, so it's an iced coffee chocolate drink. cheers. And I'm having this while I await the cake. So we're back and the cake's out the oven, and there we are, beautiful Bundt cake, perfect for either icing or indeed not. The recipe card was a tray bake. They suggested that it serve 24. I guess you could get 24 out of that, but does that include somebody having three times? A slice, a thin slice, sounds reasonable. They've suggested using a shop-bought topping, but of course you'd never do that with a Thermomix because you can make either the caramel icing yourself. Certainly in the 6 you might well have made the caramel, the salted caramel, which is second to none, which I don't make anymore because if I put it in the fridge, it's eaten. But equally, just a bit of creme fraiche on the side with that will be absolutely perfect. So what I'm going to do now with that is I'm going to slice it up when it's cool. I'm going to put it in the freezer bag, and then you can take one slice out at a time. Anyway, happy baking. I just realised that when I was making that, when I was putting the ingredients in, this one said to put in buttermilk. I just don't have any buttermilk in the fridge at the moment, and I've learned that a small can, 150 can of coconut cream is an absolutely fabulous addition, milk substitute, whatever you like to call it, in cakes. And I got that tip from a Waitrose card a little while ago. So that was what went in. So I think with the coffee and the good quality chocolate, it's going to be a winner. Can't cut it at the moment, it's too hot. But thanks for joining me.